take a look then at the Sunderland team. One change to the side that picked up a first point in 10 Premier League games on Boxing Day against Bolton. Tommy Miller returns after 3 games out with a hamstring injury. He replaces Frenchman Christian Basila, who's not in the 16 at all. The twin strike force of Stead and Gray have just 1 goal between them this season. That's a record which must change if Sunderland have any survival hopes. Well, Everton have found goals hard to come by themselves this season. They are in fact the Premier League's lowest scorers, just 10 so far. And after 4 straight defeats, David Moyes shuffles his pack again. Phil Neville and Mikel Arteta were suspended anyway after both received red cards on Wednesday in the defeat to Liverpool. So there are starts for James McFadden and Leon Osman. And for David Moyes, 2005 ends as it does for Sunderland's Mick McCarthy, and 2 clubs for whom the middle of 2005 painted a very rosy picture indeed. Everton spent the summer planning for Champions League football. Sunderland, their return to the Premier League. But as we prepare to usher out the old year, both clubs need a big improvement to lift spirits in 2006. Early space now for Kilban. It'll be intercepted by Danny Collins. And now Arca, who was comfortably Sunderland's best player here in the goalless draw against Bolton on Boxing Day. Long ball will seek out Gray as he tussled there with Yobo. Let's get some early words from Brian Marwood.
That'll be interesting given the front 2 of Sunderland, Stead and Gray, very powerful players that whether the back 4 and midfield players elect to go forward very early. I think some of the problems that Sunderland have had this season, Kevin, is that they've overplayed at times. I do feel that with the side that they have, maybe they would have been better if they had gone long and then just really looked to press in from there and put sides under pressure. That hasn't happened, and they find themselves where they are. Maybe Mick is just deciding that they might just have to change things a little bit.
A long throw from McFadden. Calvin Davis able to watch that one slide harmlessly wide. And James Beattie's got a good goal-scoring record against Sunderland. He has netted in each of his last 3 appearances against them, including, I remember, in his Southampton days, a spectacular goal here. Calvin Davis back in the Sunderland side after being dropped earlier in the season. This is Osman getting his chance because of the suspensions to Phil Neville and Mikel Arteta. Here's Cahill. Now Hibbert. Davis. One back for Sunderland by Andy Gray. Here's Arca. Collins. Ball down the line, and Stead just got a turn there on Yobo.
Did very well there, didn't he, Jonathan Stead?
Free kick quickly taken intelligently by Stead. Here's Lawrence. Oh, and an important touch there by Valente. Otherwise, Andy Gray was a certain scorer there. But what an intelligent, quick free kick there from John Stead.
Well, everything about that move was of the highest quality. I just think the original thinking of Sunderland to play the free kick quickly. Lawrence got himself into a great position. And this is terrific defending, really, from Valente. Good thinking straight away from Stead. He does well here, Lawrence, just to dig across out towards the far post, and that's just such an important touch by the Everton left-back. Because Andy Gray, as you've said, it's absolutely odds on to score.
A great deal of movement here for Nuno Valente. Eventually, McFadden obliges. A little bit untidy for James McFadden, but he's hung on to possession for now. Kilban finding Tim Cahill. Into the feet of Osman. Good control from Leon Osman. Broke away off Stephen Caldwell. It'll be an Everton throw.
I think the ball from Cahill was aimed at Osman. I think it was probably walked towards the far post, but Osman did very well. Cahill, we know, has that trademark runs from midfield. Reasonably prominent alongside Davies. A lot of energy in that central midfield for Everton today.
Long throw from McFadden. Davies under pressure with the punch. And the shot from Osman struck Cahill out as far as Hibbert. Oh, and that swerved. And I think maybe Kelvin Davis was slightly unsighted, seemed to see it late.
Well, the goalkeeper doesn't deal particularly well with this, does he? He does well there, Beattie, just backing into people. And that's, as a goalkeeper, you really need to be very dominant in situations like that. He isn't the biggest, and he's certainly a little bit vulnerable as far as confidence goes, Kelvin Davis. I think he's just delighted to see that one go wide, because he could have made a horrendous mistake with that strike from Hibbert.
Tony Hibbert has never scored for Everton. He had his sights set there. McFadden working the short corner. Osman, lovely turn into space. Davis flapping a little again. Happy not to see a blue shirt on the end of that. Away by Hoyt. Good spell now for Everton.
Yeah, just turning up the pressure a wee bit. Well, they were a little bit sluggish at the start, but now they just seem to have found their rhythm. Their passing is better, they look threatening. Osman has been extremely prominent on that right-hand side. So the worrying aspect, though, at the moment for Sunderland is the goalkeeper looks very, very edgy.
Lawrence taken out there by Kilban. It would appear as if Rob Stiles actually blew his whistle there. Liam Lawrence picked himself up, picked the ball up, and got on with the free kick. Barker. Collins. Julio Arca again. Instead wanting the ball to feet. Instead it's worked out wide here for Justin Hoyt.
It's good defending again by Valenti. Just finding his bearings in the Premier League. But started this game well.
Stead. A bit of room in which to turn, and he was caught by Simon Davis. Lawrence quickly about the Sunderland free kick, finds Danny Collins. Cross meant for Gray, but way overhit by the Sunderland left back.
To be fair to the front two, they might not have been scoring goals, but I think there's some question marks about the quality into them, and you know, it's really crucial that Sunderland get the right sort of quality into the front two to give them a chance of getting goals.
Claiming a foul, but Sunderland have got a throw anyway. Julio Arca was a Sunderland player when they were last relegated from the Premier League, with a record low points tally of 19. Free kick's been given against Valenti. Awkward challenge from the fullback.
Yeah, very rash. He was very tempted to try and get in amongst Liam Lawrence too quickly for the referee's assist on this near side. This is important. I think if you're not going to create chances in open play, you need to spend a lot of time on your set pieces. Corners, free kicks, throw-ins.
Well, Arca, we know, possesses some quality in that left foot. Caldwell has got in on alongside Gray instead. Aimed towards Caldwell, and that was an important header away by Beattie. Here's Arca.
That was a decent ball in, wasn't it, from Arca? And a very good header from Beattie. Two occasions now, one from Valenti, one from Beattie, when they've dealt with situations when Sunderland might have just got something from it. You see there the run of Caldwell trying to drift in behind Beattie. So this is a decent ball in from Arca, driven, very difficult to defend against, but it's an important header from Beattie.
Here's Stead. Good run on his outside by Lawrence. Shots on target, but fielded by Martin.
Well, that's better.
Early release from Nigel Martin, finding Osman.
It's probably Sunderland's closest they've come. And Liam Lawrence really showing a lot of confidence to get into that threatening area to try and put Nigel Martin under pressure. Hasn't had too many situations to deal with so far.
Stead. It's done well to pick out the run of Hoyt. Only Gray away in the penalty area at the moment. Miller's trying to get there. Here is Tommy Miller. Good defending, last-ditch stuff from Hibbert. That's lifted the crowd here at the Stadium of Light.
That's exactly what I was talking about, though, at the top, Kevin, about Justin Hoyt getting forward. You've just seen there the benefits of what he can bring to this Sunderland side. If he can get into the final third.
Cahill. Now Valente. Nuno Valente. And for McFadden to chase. Breen will get there first. Gary Breen, who's been relegated from the Premier League with Coventry and West Ham, doesn't want a hat-trick. Won by Miller, but no red and white shirt in particular. Phil Neville has travelled, despite being suspended. Lee Tier, the Chinese international, alongside him. Cahill.
Well, the punters have just become incredibly disillusioned, and I think what's compounded the problem is they've seen the likes of Newcastle and Middlesbrough spending a lot of money, and they can't understand why their football club is not doing the same, bringing top quality players in.
Valente. Control by Beattie. It wasn't an easy one to take, but didn't stick eventually for him. Hoyt has earned a Sunderland throw. Gray. Hoyt. Turned away by Cahill. Whitehead loses out to Kilban. Oh, and that is a cynical challenge by Gary Breen.
That's an awful challenge. He's very fortunate, you know, that he's not the last defender, because you would have no doubt about giving him a red card if he was the last defender, because that is cynical. There's no way he's going to get anywhere near the ball. Gary Breen there. And the referee, Rob Stiles, has no alternative but to give him a yellow card. It's a poor challenge.
Gary Breen will now miss Sunderland's home FA Cup tie against Northwich on January the 7th.
Interesting that Alan Stubbs has just been sent to warm up, and Mick McCarthy now has a dilemma, because as a centre-back you're going to have to make challenges, and not everyone you're going to get right.
Valente with the Everton free kicks. Poor one. Easy header for Gray. Back in by Hibbert, on by Beattie.
It's not the worst ball in the world, was it, from Joe's Beattie? Just tucked it inside. Again, it's a lack of anticipation. You know, players are frightened to make mistakes. You know, it's right away around the pitch with both sides here. You know, why no one has just taken a gamble there is beyond me.
Header on by Miller. We're just edging out Gray at the expense of a Sunderland corner. Might be a best prospect of a goal for either side today from a set piece.
Well, I said to you earlier, Kevin, when you're struggling as a team, you tend to get reliant on set pieces.
Liam Lawrence will look for Breen, Caldwell, Gray, Stead, all over 6 foot, looking to threaten. Gary Breen, who attacked it, fallen for Hoyt, and again Justin Hoyt, and Sunderland will have another corner.
Well, that was better, wasn't it? There's a little bit of pressure there. Just raises the spirits of the fans, and does very well there. Originally just to put people under pressure, Gary Breen. Justin Hoyt following up, just cannons the ball off his teammate.
Well, the big men naturally have all stayed in there for Lawrence's delivery. Missed by Beattie. Here's Arca. Turned away
chance of a counter-attack here, maybe. McFadden. Lots of room for Beattie, left side. McFadden trying to pick him out. And Collins read the play really well there.
Well, that was good play, wasn't it, from Danny Collins? Because if he didn't get that right, then James Beattie was in acres of space down this left-hand side. Another play, you know, Mick McCarthy's brought in for little or no money. He's doing a sound job there at left-back for Sunderland.
2 years ago, Danny Collins was winning the conference with Chester City. That's how many steps he's made up. Stead and Yobo isolated momentarily. Yobo really didn't have to do any defending there to close out Stead. Whitehead. Quiet so far today, Dean Whitehead. He's normally one of the Sunderland players that tries to pick the game up for his side. Here's Lawrence. Gray. Crowd are getting more frustrated by the minute here at the Stadium of Light.
He's struggling, Andy Gray, at the moment. Really is struggling for any sort of confidence. Everything just seems to be bouncing off him and going to a blue shirt.
Here's Arca. Teasing Hibbert. Osman is there as the cover for Tony Hibbert. Back with Collins. And up goes Lawrence. Nigel Martin was very calm with a fist away.
There's just better pace about Sunderland's game at the moment.
Lovely control by Beattie. And goes down, feeling he was caught there by Caldwell. Rob Stiles was right on the spot and said play on. Lawrence. Talked several times, in fact confidence I think has been the most used word in this commentary so far, as Kelvin Davis finds no composure there, but it is painful to watch some of these players lacking so much in it, isn't it?
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, you know, I've been there and done it myself, played in struggling sides where, you know, nothing seems to go right, and just so many players out there playing without any freedom, you know, lack of confidence, lack of sort of belief in their own ability, and it's incredible. You know, sometimes you might get one or two, but there's actually a lot more than that.
Too many for comfort, I'm afraid, which has made it a non-event up to now, with 6 minutes to go to half-time. Sunderland are going to make a substitution.
Well, I thought Andy Gray had been struggling, and you know, the fans are just getting on his back at the moment. You know, as a manager, it's a dilemma. Do you leave it till half-time? Do you let him see things out? But I think Mick's decided to just spare him and just make a substitution.
Arca. Collins. Now Stead. Held it up well for Arca. Now Sunderland have got runners. It's Julio Arca. Just held on that split second too long. Whitehead had made a great run forward in support.
It's a great shame, because Whitehead had really broken free from midfield. Sometimes Arca can be guilty of being over-elaborate in possession. That was one of those occasions.
Well, Sunderland will make their switch now, and it is Andy Gray who is withdrawn. And sad to hear the Sunderland fans cheering his departure. His confidence rock bottom. If it can get any lower, it probably just has, as the young French under-21 international Anthony Latalik comes on now to partner Stead. We're playing 1 minute of time added on, as Latalik finds Lawrence with a throw. Lawrence with a useful ball in, and Weir wasn't sure there. He didn't get the clean touch he wanted, but Nigel Martin took the sting out of it.
As well, Lawrence. But again, you'd have to say, just have a look at the box. There's a distinct lack of players in red and white shirts who've got a belief about getting on the end of any crosses.
If you haven't got that, consequently you're going to struggle for goals. And here's Latalik. Hoyt to his right. And the corner conceded by Kilban.
A better ball from Anthony Natalik, and Justin Hoyt might have found himself a lot more space to work in. Good defending from Kilban. That was the original ball. It very nearly found its way to Jonathan Stead, but that's when it needed a better ball. But smart thinking from Kilban. He was nice and live to the situation.
Well, if you'd have stretched me, you'd have to say that of the two sides, Sunderland are looking the more likely to find a goal. Lawrence for the corner. Out by the head of Beattie. Here's Dean Whitehead. Back out with Lawrence. Just seconds to the half-time whistle. Can Liam Lawrence do something here? Away by Hibbert. Rob Styles finds a few extra seconds and then produces the half-time whistle. Well, as they say, it can only get better. John Stead had a chance to open his Sunderland account, but he could only find the grateful hands of Nigel Martin. Liam Lawrence has buzzed around as he usually does, but there's been a distinct lack of quality around. Tony Hibbert went close for Everton early on with just about their only worthwhile goal-scoring attempt in a poor first half at the Stadium of Light, which has a half-time score of Sunderland 0, Everton 0. Our understanding is that McFadden is carrying a little illness, and that's why he's not reappeared for the second half, and Marcus Bent is on. Referee Rob Styles has had an easy time of it so far. It's been a game devoid of any genuine quality up to now. And from even this far out, you suspect the first goal will be all important in this one. Forward by Lawrence. No change in the Sunderland personnel, by the way, to the one that Mick McCarthy made just shy of half-time when he withdrew Andy Gray in favour of Letalik. And here's Stead. Looks for the run of Whitehead. And it was a good run from Dean Whitehead, who claimed that he was held off illegally.
As if there was some contact there from David Weir. Maybe not enough, certainly not enough to persuade the referee Rob Styles that it was a penalty, but that was a good build-up play from Sunderland, nice and bright. Whitehead breaking forward from midfield. I think you've got to see more of that if Sunderland are to get anything out of this game. And just have a look at there at Whitehead against Weir. Was there any contact? There was a little hint of a pullback from the Everton skipper just there as he tries to check the run of Whitehead, but that ball arguably could have been done with a yard or so in front of Whitehead, that he allowed him to get the wrong side of David Weir.
Well, he is capable of those good runs from midfield, and as Brian Marwood rightly said, Mick McCarthy will have called for more of those in this second half. Forward by Breen. Dominant header won by Yobo. Here's Arca. Broken kindly for Osman. Now Bent. First taste of the action. Held up well by Caldwell. And now Miller. Yet to really find his feet in a Sunderland shirt. The former Ipswich player Tommy Miller was a Sunderland fan as a boy. Comes from the nearby Easington village. This is Hibbert. Now Osman. Look at the room opening up here for Leon Osman. Kilban to his left and Bent to his right, and he picked up neither.
Two good challenges from Colwell. The initial one against Marcus Bent, the second one against Leon Osman. This is going to be a problem, I think, for Sunderland with the pace of Bent up front, because if he gets himself one against either centre half, then I think that Sunderland are going to have real problems dealing with his pace.
This is Hoyt finding Lawrence. He's got some room here, Liam Lawrence. Flicked off the head of Weir, and instead will keep it alive here for Sunderland. Looking to take on Hibbert. Miller can't provide the return pass for Stead. Into the path of Arca. Great defending by Nuno Valente to edge out Letalik. But that was the best piece of play we've seen from Sunderland today. Lawrence
come to life, haven't they, Sunderland? Well, we saw one in the first half from Valenti, another one in the second half. So important that your left back realises, senses the danger, whether that's from a cross that we've just seen there, or the one in the first half where he had to make a header against Andy Gray. But that's fantastic defending, great build-up play. Arca plays the perfect ball right into the path of Letalic. Unfortunately for Everton, Valenti was up to it.
Well, evidence that Sunderland are capable of putting together good football and making opportunities. And it needed that top-class defending from the Portuguese international Nuno Valente. Simon Davis has got the injury problem, but...
Well, it's Lawrence against Davis there, and I don't think it's a complete accident. I don't think Liam Lawrence has fouled Simon Davis at all there. It was just an awkward way that he went to try and clear that ball. I think maybe just tweaked his ankle ligaments. But, this is a very good, or far better Sunderland performance in the opening period of the second half than we witnessed in the entire 45 minutes of the first. There's a lot more ambition. They seem to have just shaken off the shackles in which they seem to be playing with. And David Moyes speaking with Chris Woods, and of course will employ somebody up in the director's box who will be sending down a message to the bench to let them know tactically how Sunderland seem to be having the upper hand at the moment, and maybe Everton just might have to make some changes just to thwart some of the attacking impetus that Sunderland have shown.
Caldwell in aggressively on Beattie. Simon Davis back with us again. This is Cahill. Offside flag against Bent. But he'll play the game of percentages, I think, in the second half with that extra pace that he's got, Marcus Bent.
Probably get caught more offside more than he'll be on, but it's that one time that he does stay onside that he's likely to catch it.
Lawrence. Letalic! Great save by Nigel Martin. Full stretch, the former England goalkeeper.
Well, Anthony Letalic's wheeling away, Kevin. He feels he scored. It's a tremendous cross, and it's a fantastic header, and equally matched by the goalkeeping skills of Nigel Martin. That was such a great save. Across to his left-hand side.
Lawrence for the corner. Firmly out by Kilban.
Are you watching the same Sunderland side that we saw in the first 45 minutes?
It appears not. Here's Danny Collins. Arca. Lobo just sleeping for a moment there. Consequently, Sunderland have possession with Letalic. Here's Lawrence. It's Liam Lawrence! Nigel Martin again at full stretch. This time he doesn't get a touch.
Oh, they're getting closer and closer, aren't they? Fabulous play from Sunderland. And the one thing that allows Liam Lawrence some space is the run of Dean Whitehead. You look at Whitehead there, he's crying out for the ball, he just distracts a couple of Everton players. It gives Lawrence the opportunity to strike for goal, and that's not far away, is it? But this is the earlier chance. Great ball in from Lawrence, and it was a fantastic header from Letalic, and that looked as if that was heading towards the corner of the net.
Collins needs to be careful with Beattie bearing down on him. Here's Green.
Everywhere you look on this football field now, the red and white shirts dominating that area. But, the key areas are in your own defensive third and your attacking third. And at the moment, the attacking third is not quite functioning the way that these Sunderland players would like. They're desperate for a goal. It was such a big relief to them.
Osman. Bent. Hibbert. Simon Davis. Tussle between Beattie and Collins. Had little to feed off so far today, James Beattie. Tony Hibbert with the Everton throws, suggesting it's going to be a long one. Away by Arca. Good header by Latalik into the stride here of Justin Hoyt. But Cahill across to prevent any further progress for the Sunderland right back.
Well, that's an interesting one, because Kevin Kilban told his goalkeeper Nigel Martin to kick the ball out of play because Sunderland had a player down. I think it was Dean Whitehead.
Into the feet of Stead. Oh, and John Stead shoots narrowly wide. The Everton players are furious because they felt Sunderland should have given possession back, and that would have been highly controversial had that gone in.
Well, that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? And you can understand the furious nature of the Everton players and the way they reacted. Kevin Kilban was pointing to his goalkeeper saying, kick the ball out. Now, the problem was Kevin Kilban hadn't seen was that Dean Whitehead had actually got back up on his feet. So Nigel Martin's thinking, why did I need to kick this ball out of play?
Well, Sunderland still have the opportunity via the deflected Stead shot, and the corner worked by Lawrence to Arca. Away by Weir. Now Bent. To hustle both Hibbert and Yobo.
He's changed Sunderland's performance, hasn't he, this young man, Anthony Latalik? We said already, he possesses a lot of ability. At times his attitude is in question. Well, this would have been an interesting moment, wouldn't it, if this ball had gone in the back of the net, the strike from Jonathan Stead, because Dean Whitehead had gone to ground. Kevin Kilban was pointing for Nigel Martin to put the ball out of play. That didn't happen. Sunderland got forward and agonisingly close to Sunderland's goal, and a goal that they ultimately deserved because they really have been the dominant force.
In by Arca, flick on by Lawrence, and still it won't go in for Sunderland. But so far in 18 or so second half minutes, they've looked anything but a bottom of the table side. Kilban. BT pass was rather behind Osman. Nobody can feed off the pass. Whitehead.
David Moyes absolutely furious with his side, and he's just looking every which way. Every department of his team are playing poorly. They're just second best, totally second best, and he's just saying to his players, just settle down, keep possession, take the sting out of this Sunderland performance. They're absolutely dominating this Everton side, and they need to get a foothold somewhere in the game, and at the moment the Everton manager is not quite sure how his side is going to do that, or what he can do to change the course of the Sunderland dominance.
Latalik. Arca. Now Miller. It's not about performances when you're in Sunderland's position, though. It's about amassing points. Every single game now becomes more important than the last. And they should be in front now. As it is, we're still at 0-0 as Hoyt earns a throw. Stead. Corner. Having to work hard, Nuno Valente and company, to keep Sunderland at bay. Naturally, Breen and Caldwell are both forward again for Lawrence's corner. Up goes Latalik. A break for Arca. And now Miller.
Just bobbled in front of him, didn't it? The Sunderland midfield player, never really able to look comfortable in getting a clean strike. But that's another attempt, and we've seen enough of those from Sunderland in this second half to think that they should be well ahead in this game. It's not the case, and Everton now are calling for reinforcements, and I'm not real surprised that That's in the form of Duncan Ferguson. They need a platform to play from. It gives them a great out. They can go long. He'll hold the ball up. And he'll certainly give the two centre-backs a tough time.
Simon Davies is the player to make way. And Duncan Ferguson, former associations with Newcastle, won't make him a popular entrant for Everton at the Stadium of Light for what is his 350th career league appearance. But for a lot of injuries and other matters, there would have been a good deal more. But has hinted that he may be ready to draw the curtain on his playing career before too long. Here's Stead, showing good willingness here. John Stead goes for goal, and just wide. It just will not happen for John Stead. How close is he going to have to get?
Well, the one thing is, he'll always endear himself to the fans, Jonathan Stead. He might not be scoring, but his work rate cannot be faulted. And again, that's one that's just gone agonisingly wide, and that's two attempts now in this second half where he shaved the post.
Ferguson, Cahill, Hibbert. Good running here off the ball from Beattie. It's got away from Breen momentarily. Ferguson, and now Bent. Plenty of time to weigh up the options. Marcus Bent. Difficult header away, but it was effective.
I think the guilty party on that occasion was Gary Breen initially. He was the one that played everybody onside when the ball went forward, I think, to James Beattie initially. And then that allowed Everton to get a foothold and trying to get forward in the final third, something that they haven't really done in this second half. It's a decent ball in from Marcus Bent, but no one had really gone towards that near post. And for me, there was a suspicion of a free kick against Gary Breen.
Hibbert with the Everton corner, looking for the inevitable target of Ferguson, who got a flick on. It's away by Whitehead. Now Valente. Two Sunderland players for the same ball. This is Kilban. Arca gets away from Cahill, who's niggling back at Julio Arca. Niggling just a little too much. Rob Stiles is going to book Tim Cahill.
The player has no complaints, and that's a good decision from Rob Stiles. Had a good view of it. Julio Arca always teasing you with the football, isn't he? Always inviting players to make challenges against him. And, I think it's the second one really that catches him that does the damage.
Danny Collins floats in the free kick. Valente getting the better there of Lawrence. Sunderland throw. Shot fired in by Stead. Peels for handball. Arms raised, a plenty there. Rob Stiles said no.
Southern players were convinced.
Broke kindly now for Osman. Can he find Bent? He can. Sunderland a little stretched at the back. It's Marcus Bent. Whitehead got his body between Bent and the ball. This time it was Everton who felt aggrieved. And now Lawrence. Bags of room opening up at either end here. In by Lawrence.
Not a bad ball. The problem is Anthony Natalik's trying to hold on and not get into an offside position. This game really is going from end to end at the moment. Just amazing that the scoreline is 0-0. Well, there was a big suspicion of a handball, and just have a look at the referee's position. He gets a very, very good view of it. Certainly hits Tim Cahill's hand. I was certainly seeing them given. Was it a penalty? It was in the box, and that was a clear-cut handball. That's a bad decision from the referee, because I think he's looking straight at that. I think that's ball to hand. I think that's hand to ball, because Tim Cahill is stopping that. He knows what he's doing.
How often we say it, the breaks go against the sides who can ill afford that sort of thing happening to them. Those scrambling around at the bottom. Sunderland are rock bottom, needing a bit of luck, and they didn't get it there. They actually played their first goalless draw at McCarthy's side in 56 games against Bolton on Boxing Day. Wonder if we're heading for 2 in a row. Maybe not. Leon Osman's got other ideas. He took too long to decide over what he was going to do.
Well, it was Hoyt's mistake, but the young fullback is quick enough to recover. And this is a challenge he should have won against Osman, but he does very well to get back against him. He just does enough. But, still learning. And a lot of games now, something that he wasn't doing at Arsenal. There's a whole idea of Arsene Wenger sending him on loan.
We are into the last quarter of an hour. A lot of head scratching around the Stadium of Light as to why Sunderland aren't at least a couple of goals to the good here. He'd give anything, anyhow, from anybody, a goal.
Very frustrated, isn't it, for Mick? When he's seen his side again give everything. I mean, there's not been too many performances where he's walked away and thought, well, these players couldn't give any more, because, you know, the players that have been really scraped together from the lower divisions, but they've done him proud today.
Everton up to now have looked a tired, bedraggled side. Managers have been making a lot of these games in close succession. This is Everton's third game of the holiday period. Significantly, perhaps, only Sunderland's second. Beattie's done well to force a corner at Collins. The former Sunderland player, Cahill, will come across to take the corner. Duncan Ferguson right on the goal line there to trouble Kelvin Davis. It's broken for Marcus Bent. Davis with a save. Just threw his body in the way, Sunderland keeper. A rare Everton chance. Here's Bent again. Osman neatly back to Bent. Out by the head of Justin Hoyt. Here's Osman.
Well, the key to the save from Kelvin Davis is make yourself as big as possible. And that's exactly what he did against Marcus Bent at the far post. A decent corner, and this is a good chance for Bent. He just wheels away off the far post, really. The goalkeeper gets caught in no man's land, and that's where he makes himself very, very difficult to thread a ball past the goalkeeper. He doesn't commit himself too quickly. That's a good save.
The old starfish, wasn't it, from Kelvin Davis, and certainly did the job. Bent beginning to a little bit of influence on the game now. Marcus Bent, and he has been fouled by Caldwell, who the referee at least wants a word with. He maybe wants to produce a card for Stephen Caldwell.
That was a free kick that Rob Stiles has gone back. Just a hint of it, a clip from Tommy Miller on the legs of Marcus Bent.
Initially Rob Stiles was suggesting he might have wanted a word there with Caldwell, but the Everton free kick is all of 40 metres out here for James Beattie. He's going to need something extra special to score from here. But Beattie fancies it. James Beattie.
Decent. Certainly worked the goalkeeper. But Kelvin Davis felt that it was going to get close enough. Ball was just bending away, wasn't it? So that was ambitious. That was a long way out for James Beattie to take that on.
Caldwell. Expansive pass. Picks out Liam Lawrence, who took that nicely on the chest. Run into Nuno Valente, and then he has fouled Hoyt.
It's a wild challenge, isn't it? This is what I was saying though earlier. You know, Liam Lawrence doesn't really have the pace to get past people, so he's relying on his clever footwork. But it was fortunate for him that Justin Hoyt was following up, supporting the player in front of him.
Over 3 years since Sunderland have won at home in the Premier League. Goes back to their last relegation season 3 years ago. A run of 20 games now as Arca flies in the free kick. It's fallen for Gary Breen. Beattie wasn't sure where it was. Yobo gets it clear. And Miller finds Collins. Misplaced by Yobo. Stead. Chance now, Lawrence. Tremendous defending there by Tim Cahill.
That's great defending, it really was. He just saved his side there, Tim Cahill.
Corner taken quickly. Here's Lawrence. Stabbed away by Weir. Was bouncing around dangerously there for Everton. But Cahill got it away. Collins. Hoyt. Sunderland have created enough now to have won 2 or 3 games. It's all come in this second half where they've been so dominant. Hoyt. Arca.
Ambitious. But what a great block, wasn't it, from Tim Cahill? Again, good pressure from Sunderland. And while he might not have been at his best this season, Tim Cahill, it's important moments like this where you have to defend when you are under pressure, and that's exactly what's happened to Everton in this second half. And Lawrence went absolutely odds on to score. They'll be beginning to wonder whether they've actually run over a few Black Cats, never mind being called the Black Cats, Sunderland, because they have had no luck whatsoever in front of goal.
Collins with work to do. David Moyes has been a most angry Everton manager on the touchline in this second half. So many hand gestures, and with every good reason.
He's not been able to sit and enjoy any football from his side because they haven't played any football. I mean, at no point really have they dominated this game, and I think that he probably feels that this is a game that they were coming into after having a very turbulent time in respect of performances and results, and thought, well, we could pick 3 points up here, but his side have been second best.
But via Beattie's long throw, they still have hope of pinching all 3 points. Nobody knows where it is. Kilban first to react. Here's Beattie. That's a corner, flicks away off Arca.
Well, this will be a cruel blow if Sunderland concede anything from this, because they have been the better side. There's no arguing with that. They've had a lot of chances to have buried this game, and now they're having to defend against a lot of tall, aggressive players.
Floated in by Kilban. Oh, and the header's in! And it's Tim Cahill, the man who broke Sunderland's hearts in the FA Cup semi-final of 2004, has popped up with a late winner, surely now for Everton.
Well, Mick McCarthy must be thinking this daylight robbery. He's seen his side have a lot of chances, particularly in this second period, and he's also seen his side fail to deal with a corner kick from Everton. He does brilliantly there, Tim Cahill, but there's enough height in that Sunderland defence to really have dealt with that ball that's come into the box. It's a great delivery from Kilban. It's a fantastic header from Cahill. Might have taken a slight deflection. Well, it really is a knockout blow.
It's his first Premier League goal of the season, and it's surely going to claim all 3 points for David Moyes now. The cruelest of cruel blows for the Premier League's bottom club. Arca. We're in aggressively on Lawrence. Osman. And Rod Styles blows the full-time whistle. A most unlikely 3 points for David Moyes and Everton. What can you say to Mick McCarthy as Tim Cahill pops up in stoppage time to break Sunderland hearts and maybe just rejuvenate Everton's season? They've arrested a run previously of 4 straight defeats, but for Sunderland it gets even more depressing. They put in a wonderful second half performance, totally outplayed Everton, but then suffered a sucker punch again. Final score, the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 0, Everton 1. Alan, it looked for a long time as if you weren't going to get 3 points in that game.
Yes, it certainly did. It looked as if the best we might get would be 1. Obviously, we were under a great deal of pressure for the early part of the second half, and fortunately from our point of view we didn't concede. And then it looked as if the game was going to finish in a 0-0 draw, but of course getting the late goal was fantastic for us.
Although you've won the match, David Moyes didn't look happy throughout that second half in particular. Has he had some harsh words?
Well, he's got every right to be unhappy. Over the last 5 games we've conceded 13 goals, so you know, as a manager he'll be pulling his hair out, but as players, like, you know, we don't go out there to concede goals and to just lay down. But you know, it's a spirited performance. It wasn't the best, but 3 points is 3 points, and we didn't want to kick-start their season, and it's about time we kick-started ours.
So heartbreak for Sunderland. Everton win by 1-0 at the Stadium of Light.